Hello again. Rupert Lowe, the independent MP for Yarmouth, is currently in the news as he has now launched Restore Britain as a political party and hopes that it will enjoy huge growth, perhaps in time to field candidates in the next general election. There is among those vehemently opposed to immigration a feeling that here at last is a party which really represents their interests, led by a man with whom they can readily identify. Lowe often says things about immigration and the state of the nation which appeal to disillusioned followers of Nigel Farage, those who feel that he is too soft on immigration. This whole business symbolises the problem which has always bedevilled right-wing or anti-immigration parties in Britain. The squabbling and infighting between those who wish to be the leader has turned the history of right-wing politics in this country into a series of struggles not to change the nature of Britain, but rather to see who can emerge as the strong man that so many on the right hope will arise to lead them. The story of right-wing politics in Britain is, in other words, not a history of various ideologies or political movements so much as it is a narrative consisting of personalities. Colin Jordan, Martin Webster, John Tyndall, Nick Griffin, Nigel Farage, and now Rupert Lowe. The impression is that here are men who see themselves as leaders in waiting and who hope to attract followers not through coming up with new and original ideas, but rather by the force of their personality. Let's face it, Reform UK is Nigel Farage. The British National Party was Nick Griffin. Of course, the BNP existed before Nick Griffin, and it still exists now, but it was only during the leadership of one man that it seemed to be a genuine force. The National Front still exists, but I defy anybody to name its current leader. It was when Martin Webster and John Tyndall were associated with it that it was significant. The men rather than the party itself. In other words, the story of the right in this country has been the story of the cult of personality. Now, this can work under certain circumstances. What else was fascism in Italy other than a cult of personality centering around Mussolini, just as in Germany it centered around Adolf Hitler? There is nothing inherently faulty or mistaken or um, wrong with the concept of the cult of personality. It worked too in Soviet Russia with Lenin and Stalin, in Spain with Franco, and so on. The only question to ask is whether it will succeed in Britain, and that, I think, is open to question. Rupert Lowe is the latest such strong man to crop up on the right, but whether he will be more successful than Oswald Mosley, say, or Nick Griffin, we shall have to see. My own feeling is that this kind of thing doesn't really take in this country.